and loved ones that trouble you? You're losing your mind, but it just wouldn't go away. Well, join Dr. Phil, clinical counselor, and his beloved Clarissa, counseling psychologist, on The Healing Process every Thursday, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on REV-UP St. Lucia 95.9 FM. That's The Healing Process, Thursdays, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on REV-UP St. Lucia 95.9 FM. Let the healing process begin.
This is the healing process coming your way today, folks. When it comes to dealing with the challenges, the changes, and crises of life, it is important to seek help early. Don't sit around sucking your thumb until that chassis is on the road. The earlier you seek help, the shorter and easier it will be, because there will be less of a mess to deal with. Contrary to popular notion, counseling is not just for crazy people. It's for anyone who can benefit from an outside objective expert perspective to help them enjoy their little lives to the fullest. I am Dr. Phil.
And I am Claire, extending warm greetings to our listeners and viewers. Whether you're one of our regulars, or maybe a first-time listener or viewer from St. Lucia, the diaspora, or some part of the globe, we greet each of you. You are all very special to us. We are excited for another opportunity to be with you, and we thank you for making this program your choice. We are Dr. Phil and Clarissa Leo, and it's time once again for another episode of The Healing Process. Remember, our goal is to assist you, the listener or viewer, in enjoying life to the fullest by addressing those disturbing issues in yourself or others that hinder the enjoyment of not my life, your life. Today, folks, we have a very interesting and important topic that affects families, workplaces, friendships, and even our communities. We're talking about narcissism. Now, you may have heard the word before, sometimes used casually, sometimes seriously. But what does it really mean? In this program, we'll explore what narcissism looks like in everyday life, how it impacts us, both young people and adults, and most importantly, how awareness can help us build healthier connections. So, stay tuned. This is going to be a conversation that opens eyes and sparks reflection.
Oh.
On to you, Phil.
Aww. Claire, you did so well this morning. I like that.
There we go. But before we do that, could you remove the mic covers in front? Right. Beautiful. I'm sure the viewers would say amen to that. All right, so here you go. Claire received kudos from Lady J. Thumbs up. So as she said, in this program, we're hoping to explore what narcissism looks like in everyday life. But however, if you want a shortcut in understanding, just view for yourself or take a look for yourself or follow for yourself the attitude of the President of the United States of America, and you will have a good idea as to what narcissism is all about. But look for yourself. Now, recognizing a narcissist can be challenging, as their behaviors can be subtle or hidden behind charm and confidence. In other words, in a passive-aggressive way. Narcissism is extreme self-involvement to the degree that it makes a person ignore the needs of those around them. While everyone may show occasional narcissistic behavioral patterns, true narcissists frequently disregard others or their feelings. They also do not understand the effect that their behavior has on other people. The world is all about him or her. The world, 196,800,000 square miles of real estate, 8 billion people approximately, all about him or her. That's an impossibility, is it? Here are some questions, though, that might help identify narcissistic traits in someone. Do they become defensive, or do you become defensive, or Claire, angry or dismissive when they receive constructive feedback? Now, I would like you to focus on self. Just forget about the other person. Just check yourself, because it is not a good trait to be carrying around.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think of the other person. Focus on I and I-man, according to the Rastafarians. Okay?
Yes.
Do they often talk about their achievements and talents in a way that seems exaggerated or out of touch with reality, or what is existential? Do they seek out praise and validation frequently and become upset if they don't receive it? Validation is okay, but to unhealthily seek it out, we want to be able to support other person's perspective, Claire.
Yes.
But when it comes neurotic, you ask people to support your point of view while you disrespect others. It is definitely not healthy.
Yes.
Again, do they seek out praise and validation frequently? Remember, frequently is the working word. Do they seem indifferent or dismissive towards the feelings and needs of others, often focusing solely on their own needs and desires? Do they use manipulation, deceit, or coercion to get what they want, often at the expense of others? Do they believe that they deserve special treatment and are often frustrated or angry when things don't go their way? Are their relationships often marked by conflict, manipulation, or lack of genuine connection? Do they often act superior to others, dismissing or belittling those that they consider beneath them? Do they tend to shirk responsibilities or expect others to handle the mundane tasks they consider beneath them? Now, let's find out the origin of narcissism, and I will turn to Claire for that.
Oh, I thought you'd be speaking still. Okay, folks, let's see the origin of narcissism. I'm sure you're interested in that. Well, it's interesting to note that the term narcissist originates from the ancient Greek myth of Narcissus, a young hunter known for his extraordinary beauty. According to the myth, Narcissus was so captivated by his own reflection in a pool of water that he fell in love with it, unable to look away. This infatuation with his own image ultimately led to his demise, as he either wasted away by the water's edge or drowned while trying to embrace his reflection.
What a demise.
The story of Narcissus has been used throughout history to illustrate excessive self-love and vanity. However, in modern times, the term narcissism and its derivatives like narcissus have been adopted in psychology to describe individuals who exhibit a pattern of what we call grandiosity, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. So this concept was further developed and formalized by Sigmund Freud and other psychologists who studied personality disorders.
Again, narcissistic personality disorder, which we call NPD, is a mental health condition characterized by a long-term pattern of exaggerated self-importance. It is a deep need for excessive attention and admiration. Notice the working word, excessive. We all want a little attention. If Claire doesn't give me any attention and I don't give you any attention now and then, you would feel comfortable with that. We need some form of attention. Lady J? Yeah, our children.
Definitely.
We need a little attention. We need to let them know they look lovely in our eyes. We admire them. But the excessiveness of demanding it. So it troubled relationships and lack of empathy for others. And people with NPD often display arrogance, over inflated sense of self, a sense of superiority, and a constant need for validation. See it from my perspective. See it from my perspective. Support my perspective. Please, please. You mightn't say it so, but the behavior would send that message. Now, NPD is a serious condition that often requires professional treatment, including therapy. I am not too sure if that will work for President Trump. To help individuals manage their symptoms and improve their interaction with others. I hope one day it can work for him. Narcissism is a personality trait characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, and a lack of empathy for others, a lack of the ability to see the world through the eyes of others. While everyone may exhibit narcissistic traits to some degree, narcissism becomes problematic or neurotic when it dominates a person's behavior and negatively impacts their relationships and their interactions. You can imagine for yourself. You want some attention for yourself. You're in a relationship, and that person wants all the attention. They have no regard for you and your needs, your love needs, your affection needs. They want you to be all over them with your affection while they are not reciprocating. Now, there are different levels of narcissism, ranging from healthy self-esteem to narcissistic personality disorder. Here are some key characteristics of narcissistic behavior. Help me out there, Claire.
Okay,
Too sweet and nice and quiet there.
One key characteristic of narcissistic behavior is what the experts call grandiosity. That is where the narcissist often has an exaggerated sense of their own abilities and achievements, believing they are superior to others. Now, to help you understand what we mean by grandiosity, we'll share the story of Alex, a successful entrepreneur known for his grandiose behavior.
Okay, I'm interested.
Alex had always been ambitious, and his drive led him to build a thriving tech company from the ground up. However, as his success grew, so did his sense of self-importance. Alex began to believe that he was the sole reason for the company's achievements, disregarding the contributions of his team.
So what about the dictionary's definition of company? Is it one? I thought company meant several coming together.
Well, one company, but
Several individuals?
Yes.
I'm referring to Alex. At the end of the day, it seems that he was the only one involved. So take note.
well, at company meetings, Alex would often dominate the conversation, boasting about his visionary ideas and how he single-handedly transformed the industry. Of course, that was not true. He rarely acknowledged the hard work of his employees, instead taking full credit for every success. His grandiosity was evident in his constant need for admiration and validation from others.
There we go.
What happened? Let's see. One day, Alex decided to host a lavish event to celebrate the company's latest milestone. He spared no expense, ensuring that the event was a spectacle designed to showcase his success. So during his speech, Alex spent most of the time talking about his brilliance and how the company was a reflection of his genius. He even went as far as to compare himself to some of the greatest minds in history, claiming that his impact on the tech world would be remembered for generations. While some attendees were impressed by the grandeur of that event, many of Alex's employees felt disheartened and unappreciated. They saw through his self-centered behavior and began to question their loyalty to a leader who seemed more interested in his own glory than in the well-being of his team. And here's what happened. Over time, the company's culture suffered. Talented employees left, seeking environments where their contributions would be valued and recognized. Alex's grandiosity, once a driving force behind his ambition, ultimately became a barrier to genuine connection and collaboration within the company.
There we go, Claire. Once company owners move their eyes from the fact that we need their money, they need our human resource capital. Team spirit. Organizational behavior says team spirit, cohesiveness is key to the success of a company. And here we see that narcissistic behavior does not achieve that.
Yes, and we see that this story highlights how grandiosity, which is a key trait of narcissism, can lead to the alienation of others and the erosion of a supportive and productive environment. It serves as a reminder of the importance of humility.
That's right.
And recognizing the collective efforts that contribute to success.
So, Claire, what are we saying here?
Well, we come to another key characteristic of narcissistic behavior, and that is the need for admiration.
All how I go through the material coming from the researchers, persons like ourselves, I see a picture of the President of the United States of America. It just stands out. And it's not what people say. I would listen to him for myself because I'm very, very conscious of propaganda. And all how I listen to him, he would compliment people, but the compliment is in a passive-aggressive form. It says something about himself. I have the ability to recognize potential in you. And he takes the praise for having that ability. So, folks, another key characteristic of narcissistic behavior, as Claire said, is the need for admiration. Narcissists crave constant attention. Again, the working word, constant attention, admiration and praise from others. They may go to great lengths to seek validation, and that is understanding for the perspective of others, but understanding for their perspective. Let's consider the story of Jessica, a talented marketing executive whose need for admiration impacted her professional and personal life. It will. The world is not about just me or you, Claire.
That's right.
We need people. We keep on emphasizing that. It's a fantasy to imagine that we don't need people. And it's one thing I've learned. Be very, 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 very slow to make enemies and very, very, very quick to make friends. It will work for you in the final analysis. So in meetings, Jessica would frequently steer conversation towards her own achievements, often overshadowing the contribution of her colleagues. She thrived on the applause and commendation she received, and when she wasn't the center of attention, she felt restless and unappreciated. Don't ask if she is temperament? Supine. Don't ask if she's supine. One notable instance was during the annual company award ceremony. Jessica had spearheaded a major project that brought significant success to the company. Instead of acknowledging her team's effort, team spirit, cohesiveness, she spent her She spent her acceptance speech highlighting her own role and ingenuity. The audience applause fed her sense of self-importance, and she basked in the admiration she received. Now, there is nothing wrong in basking in the admiration, but here again, superfluity of it is dangerous. Outside of work, Jessica's need for admiration extended to her social life. So it started
Which would be
becoming
expected, yes.
neurotic. She meticulously put together her social media profiles to show her success, ensuring that every post attracted likes and comments. Friends and family noticed that conversation with Jessica often revolved around her latest accomplishments, with little room for others to share their experience. You can imagine the impact on the family, Claire. You come home over dinner, and this person would just overwhelm the dinner table with the day.
Surrounding themselves.
The end results. Take us there, Claire.
Well, there's always the end results. As time passed by, Jessica's colleagues and friends began to distance themselves. They felt overshadowed and undervalued, recognizing that the interaction with Jessica were more about validating her rather than building genuine connections. Jessica's constant need for admiration made it difficult for her to form deep, meaningful relationships.
Please take heed of that. Deep, meaningful
Relationships.
relationships. People will get fed up of your self-centeredness
They
because others have needs. Needs to be recognized, needs to be validated, need to feel wanted in the relationship. A relationship is not a one-sided affair.
It's not. Well, eventually, Jessica's behavior caught up with her. A key project failed because of her inability to work with her boss and with the workers, and her boss had to confront her about her conduct. During the discussion, Jessica was forced to reflect on how her need for constant admiration had isolated her team and affected her work. So that's good. She was forced to reflect because of what she saw resulting from her behavior.
Yes.
It made her reflect on how her need for constant admiration isolated her team, and it affected her work, so she came to her senses.
Just imagine we're around a table at a meeting, and the boss comes up. He's about to speak, and he made a reference to Jessica's work or your work, my work, and right away I just take over, forgetting about the others. Sir, I did that, I went over there, I did all the research. And the others, your work is dependent on their input. If they don't input, you're in trouble. And you are at them. But at the end of the day, when you're making your contribution at the table, it was all about you. This is going to get people angry. It's going to get people upset. It's going to distance people from you. So we need to be careful about this. We are not here just to share information. We're hoping that each and every one of us would take a good look at ourselves, do some introspection, and see how close we are to the characteristical traits of a narcissistic individual. And don't forget you're listening to the healing process for today with Claire and I, and of course Lady J there on the console listening quite carefully. Is that right, the console?
Yes.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, folks, what we see here is that this story illustrates how the need for admiration, a hallmark of narcissism, can disrupt professional success and personal relationships. It highlights the importance of balancing self-confidence, with humility and recognizing, the value of others' contributions. So we've spoken of grandiosity, spoken about the need for admiration, and now we have a third reason, a third characteristic of narcissistic behavior, which is lack of empathy.
And as you know, seeing it through the eyes of others, walking in their shoes, so that they could feel comfortable that others understand my life, what I'm going through, my hurts, my pain.
So yes, we're telling you some stories so you could put things in perspective when you think of a narcissist. Narcissists typically struggle to understand or care about the feelings and needs of others. They may come across as insensitive or indifferent. We hope that as we tap into these real life stories, folks, you will have a better understanding of who a narcissist is. Now let's explore the story of David, a successful corporate executive whose lack of empathy affected his professional and personal relationships. David was known for his sharp business insight and ability to choose to close deals. However, his success came at a cost. He often displayed a lack of empathy towards his colleagues and subordinates. He was focused solely on results, nothing wrong with that, but had little regard for the feelings or well-being of those around him. One day, a team member, Sarah, approached David with a personal issue. She was going through a difficult time and needed some flexibility with her work schedules, and instead of showing understanding or offering her some support, David dismissed her concerns by saying, "We all have problems, but work comes first. If you can't handle it, maybe this isn't the right place for you."
Wow.
Now that's harsh. Sarah felt crushed by David's response. She had hoped for some compassion and understanding, but instead received cold indifference. Now this interaction left her feeling unsupported and undervalued, affecting her morale and productivity. David's lack of empathy extended beyond individual interaction. During team meetings, he would often criticize employees harshly without considering their perspectives or the challenges they faced. His feedback was more about asserting his authority rather than providing constructive guidance. And this created a toxic work environment where the employees felt demoralized and fearful of making mistakes. Outside of work.
And that's when we make more mistakes, when we are fearful of that.
That's true. But outside of work, David's relationship suffered as well. His friends and family noticed his self-centered behavior and lack of emotional connection. He rarely showed interest in their lives or offered support when they needed it. So over time, people began to distance themselves from him. And he found it difficult to maintain a relationship with someone who seemed incapable of empathy.
In the final analysis.
And you notice it's not just going to affect your work, it's going to affect your relationships as well.
One who is manifesting narcissistic behavior in a work environment could hardly hide that at home. That's where it would explode to its fullest at home. Sometimes people try their best to hide it, to mask it, because we can put on a mask at work in public, but when the bacteria start to fester under the mask, because we cannot wear a mask all our life.
Definitely, you have to take it off.
Bacteria will go there, you'll perspire, and then if they stay there, so you must take it off.
In COVID, you can't wait to get into the vehicle, remove that mask, or get home.
We're talking about a full face mask. We have to take that out sooner or later.
Yes.
It's better to be true to yourself. If you find yourself manifesting narcissistic traits, get some help from somebody who'd love you enough to confront you with the truth about yourself. People may lie to you. That wouldn't help. And lying to people about their narcissistic traits wouldn't help. Sooner or later, especially if they get some help for themselves, they would realize you're not a true friend, you're a hypocrite. So it's better to tell them the truth about themselves, especially when they're expressing narcissistic behavior towards others, the innocent. You can come humbly to the defense of the individual, the victim, by using an assertive approach to help the narcissistic person understand that you do not support this behavior. So, again, I say to you, if you have realized that you're manifesting narcissistic behavioral patterns, this is neurotic, this is labile, this is unhealthy, and you need help, and you can only get help outside of yourself, because some of you listening to me, you may not even realize it unless somebody who truly cares, who truly understands, brings it to your attention.
Or persons might just refrain from being around you and keep away from you and
Yes.
not want to work with you or have any relationship with you.
But you'll find an
They don't
excuse.
tell you the truth.
These people,
But sometimes they wouldn't listen.
there we go.
They wouldn't listen. So, folks, eventually the consequences are always the same. It caught up with David. His team became disengaged, less productive, leading to a decline in the company's performance. Realizing the impact of his actions, he sought help from a professional coach to work on his empathy and interpersonal skills.
There we go. So, folks, it's midday, is it?
It is.
And that's where we go into the box for today. But do you want to wrap up this segment, Claire? Nicely?
Yes, we have another characteristic, and that is a sense of entitlement. So we're going to have to do this as a series
Okay.
because we will not be able to, and we don't want to rush the
Yes.
information.
But I'm sure if,
So far, we had grandiosity, the traits.
Yes.
Then we had the need for admiration, the excessive need for admiration. And we had the lack of empathy and a sense of entitlement. You know what that means?
but which of the stories stand out, Claire, would reflect narcissistic behavior?
Which one?
Mhm.
Well, they all. They
Which
all
one?
did.
Which one would be number one on the list?
Well, all of them, because all of them related to. Oh, you're speaking about the president.
I hope you remember
president
that.
of the US.
Yes.
I don't want to mention it.
You don't, but that's a reality, among other things. And if our listening audience would really like a true picture of what narcissistic behavior is all about, the president presents that on a golden platter. All right, so folks, now it's time for you to call us.
Well,
As
we have
we-
a sense of entitlement. We have manipulative behavior. So we're not through yet. So we will have to continue next week.
If life
So
spare.
God spared. So
Yes.
we will stop right here. We dealt with grandiosity, the need for admiration, the lack of empathy. Do you see yourself exhibiting these characteristics? And another one is envy. Another one is arrogance.
This is a
Yes,
word
so
that
we
was
have-
thrown around heavily at one time in our country. People use this word left, right, and center. He's arrogant, she's arrogant. And
Difficulty with dealing with criticism. So we'll have to leave the rest for next week. So we will concentrate on the three: grandiosity, the need, excessive need for admiration, and the lack of empathy.
so now, when you call us, what stood out for you during the program? What impacted you? What you would leave with? What would have you to make some adjustment to your family life, to your relationships, romantic relationships, your marital relationships? What stood out for you that would have you to make some adjustments in the work environment? We didn't have the unprecedented Jesus. Unfortunately, it was not the fault of the radio station. It was a technical problem brought about by the electricity, so the lack of it. So I learnt, and Mr. Cosmas is a very learned person in his field, so he assured me. So I'm hoping that next week I have a very interesting program lined up, a new one. We will not play the same one next week. We're going to have a new one with something new about it, so I'd like you to listen. But for today, if you can tell us what stood out for you, or you also have the privilege of asking a question, whatever you like. And also, if you influence somebody into listening to the program and calling us, then your name can also go into the box twice. So here we go on our next expedition of the Smackaroos.
Joseph Sylvester is on. Go ahead, Joseph.
Good afternoon, Dr. Phil. Good afternoon, Claire. Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
ADJ.
Good afternoon. Yeah. Good afternoon.
Thanks for accepting my call.
Okay, thanks for you calling.
Okay, pleasure. Yeah, Dr. Phil, for my 1 minute, let me ask you, can an overconfident person or an assertive person become a narcissistic?
Okay, these are contradictory because an assertive person is not an aggressive person. An assertive person is the trait, assertion, sorry, is the trait that we should head for in our communication style. We don't want to be passive, that's unhealthy. We don't want to be passive aggressive, that's undermining. We don't want to be aggressive, we want to be assertive. We want to be able to make statements that says, I can stand up for my rights, I can stand up for what I want, what I need, without violating the rights of others. Some people believe that assertiveness is aggressiveness. No. You stand up for what you believe, you stand up for what you want, what you need. You understand that you have a right to make mistakes and to learn from it, and not to allow people to define you for the rest of your life because you made a mistake or some bad choices. So it is different. Okay? Very, very much different.
It's quite the opposite.
Yes, it's quite the opposite.
And let me finish by asking you, can somebody at an early age say to himself that I want to be an artistic person? I listen on the radio.
Okay.
No, it is not something you say that you want to be. It is an unhealthy, healthy set of traits creeping in your life. If probably sometimes you don't even realize it.
It's actually the researchers have classed it as a mental health condition.
There we go.
Yes.
So you don't say that I want to be.
It's a disorder, narcissistic personality disorder.
No. Mr. Trump did not lie down on his bed and say that I would want to be narcissistic. Because of his past, his upbringing, his challenges in life, he found himself developing these unhealthy traits.
I don't think we spoke about treatment. There is treatment for that, right? Certain
Yes,
persons.
yes.
Okay.
Of course, we need
Get to
therapy.
it. We haven't.
Okay, callers, folks, we're listening. What stood out for you?
287-0971. Okay, we have a caller.
Good afternoon to you.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
go ahead, please.
Hello.
Dr. Phil,
Yes?
can you associate narcissism with a trait, like you were born with that trait? And my next question is, could you associate a pathological liar and a narcissist? Are they the same?
Oh, yeah. Yes, well, for you to carry this trait long term, you have to be lying to yourself and others.
And be an expert at it too.
And be an expert at it. Now, while hereditary factors can influence behavior, I am not too sure whether you have somebody who is born a narcissist. As a narcissist, we develop these traits through learnt behavior. We learn from our parents, we learn from our environment. Again, I go back to President Trump, his dad, his relationship with his dad, the expectation from his dad.
Failure was not on the list.
Failure was not on the list, so it drove him into developing these self-centered traits to make sure that he survived in a very competitive world. Unfortunately,
And to get the recognition he wanted from his dad.
Yes.
He deviated from the norm.
Yes.
Okay. We have a message. It says, "Good day." That's from St. Lucia.
Yes.
I would like to know what is the cause of this. Okay, she means street because she has street. Is it the way someone was brought up, or any trauma from the childhood?
Well, we have just explained that. The way somebody, it's a learned behavior.
Yes, raised.
Yes.
And the experiences they had growing up.
Yes.
Yes. Can
Apparently
drive them to become, because to want admiration, maybe somebody who didn't get admiration from their parents and they seek in it and they want it at all costs, they will develop those traits because they didn't get it from their parents.
Right.
And,
especially if the pecking order in the family, somebody find themselves at the bottom and struggling for recognition, while others in the family, sometimes mom, dads, they're not learned into raising their children properly, and they would show preferential treatment. And some children, the only time they would get a little hug from dad or from mom is after a beating. When they realize that the others are getting the attention, but when they get in trouble and they start crying, then mom would pay some attention. So now they will start finding themselves in trouble so that they can get attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the therapy is very important because it can help the individual acknowledge and recognize the thought patterns and the behavior. Why are they thinking of doing things that way? And so it focuses also on ways they can deal with their past experiences, because not all past experiences are the same.
Right.
So whatever past experience that they had that contributed to the narcissistic behavior will be dealt with when they see a professional.
Right. Again, Claire, as you're well aware, the temperament would impact the way that individual manifests these behavioral patterns. The choleric is more inclined to find themselves dominated by these traits, and therefore they would want to be very, very careful. The choleric, the melancholy, who likes to appear competent and in control, would not manifest it in that way. But for sure, the choleric, who see others as tools, would soon find themselves in this unhealthy way of relating to the world if they're not careful. But again, they can get help. I have had clients like that, and praise God, when individuals went back to work, employees asked, what happened to our boss? From a good perspective, of course, because they learned that they could have gotten the same results from their employees by being assertive.
Yes. So we're saying that it's a mental health condition. When we speak about mental health, the way you think, the way you process thoughts, and it would be based on your past experience, the way you were raised. Maybe you had some traumatic experience in the past, and you tell yourself, I'm not going to let anybody walk over me anymore.
That's right.
So I'm going to be like that because that's what happened to me. I'm not going to let it happen to me again. So you focus on yourself. I will not let that happen to me.
Right. But instead of striking the center of the continuum, they go to the extreme. The extreme, thank you. Yes.
And it develops into narcissistic behavior. So that's why it is important that persons like that seek professional help, because
Yes.
on their own they would not be able to, not even sometimes they would not be able to recognize it.
For sure.
All they know in their minds, that's the only way I feel good.
Yes.
I'm dominating,
I'm in charge.
I'm
here.
in charge,
Yes.
I'm the center of attention. I don't care about other people. Okay, nobody cared about me when I was growing up. Now I'm going to care about me.
Right.
And so they walk all over somebody else. They walk over the other staff members because it's my turn. But they're going about it the wrong way, actually. We know
Right.
that.
What
But
happened to the
that's what
lines?
the thought process
Yes.
is at that point in time.
Okay.
They're just making sure they have the names in the box, but we haven't received the call since the last message. And the last message was Hyacinth. I don't know if you've received, got messages from this person before, but this name is new.
Okay.
Yeah, Hyacinth.
You have the
It's a
number?
name. Yeah, I took
Okay.
that down.
Don't forget, folks, we're waiting for your call. What's stood out for you? And of course, we were happy to answer the questions that came across.
So we have unconscious motivations. That means something would happen to you in the past, and unconsciously you just responding in certain ways, but you're not quite aware that you are doing that, unless somebody who's in the counseling area, psychology, a psychologist or counselor, therapist, would bring it to your attention. As I said earlier on, by helping you process your thoughts, helping you look back. That's why we have what we call the intake session, where we look back on your past as far back as you can remember, how it was for you growing up, what your relationship was with your family, your mother, your father, your siblings. So we delve into your past. Did you have any abuse as a form of abuse did you experience any form of abuse as a child? And different areas in your life. So the experiences, it may be different for each person.
Yes, let's go back to
All right, let me read this one from Facebook.
yes.
Nancy
So that-
Gracelyn.
Yes.
She says, Dr. Phil, a narcissist will never think they need help. If you tell them they do, it's likely they will turn it on you and tell you you're the one who needs help.
That's true.
Remember, a narcissist thinks that they're perfect and they have no faults.
Yes, that's
Yes,
why
they feel okay where
they
they are.
need to see a professional who they would not be able to twist and turn. The professional will be trained in, but it is very difficult for them to seek help.
Yes, they would not admit they need help.
Yeah, don't ask if they're choleric.
Mhm.
They would not come to the conclusion that I need help from anybody. So you're correct. But some have sought assistance and they have gotten assistance. But it's
Yes.
very, very, very difficult for them.
But the times they seek assistance, when all fall down,
Usually.
like they lose their relationships, they lose their jobs because of their behavior, and they come to grips with the fact that, look, it's Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall.
Caller, I have dealt with such. They try to take over the counseling environment right away. You must not give them
to be
not
firm.
even one iota of a chance to do that. From the time they step in, they will try to control the direction the
The session is going.
therapeutic session is going. And
Yes.
you must see to it as a counselor, if you're a counselor out there, that you don't give them not one iota of a chance to do that
But
in a
it's,
loving
it's
way.
not it's not the end of the road for a narcissist.
No.
It's not the end. It's not a lost cause. There is help available for anyone who wants it. But
Well.
they have to want the help, because if they don't want it for themselves, if they don't see it, if they have not come to realize, well, they'll remain a narcissist and they will just find themselves growing old and all alone.
There we go.
Their significant other or their spouse would not want to be around them. Their children would not want to be around them. Friends, and so if they grow to, even they get to be 90, they'll be all alone.
Without help, they will die that way. There's no
Yes.
question about that. They will die that. This is what the person was trying to say. But being in the counseling arena, we know that when the foundations start cracking up and the walls come tumbling down, and they have no form of support because people would distance themselves from them, they would seek help, and the counseling environment is engineered to embrace anyone.
Yes.
So they usually crawl in.
And
Siko Leonti says, good morning to everyone.
Yes.
good morning.
That's
to
from
you.
Facebook.
Good morning
Okay.
to you.
Thank you. Don't forget, let us hear your voice, folks. Call us, the first 5 callers into the box. But you may want to share your experience. You may want to ask a question to help you in the family.
287-0971 on the studio line is 572-9710, or you can send a message via Facebook. And of course, I'll read that out to Dr. Phil and Clarissa. Don't forget, we end at 12:30, so call us.
Yeah, the time is disappearing very quickly.
Loved ones can play a crucial role by setting healthy boundaries. We need to set those healthy boundaries. But we offer support, and we encourage the individual to seek professional help. So we must set boundaries. We cannot allow them to walk all over us and to be in charge. There are situations where we have to be in charge, just like the counselor.
Yes. If it's a young person, yes?
We have a question here. Charmaine. She says, can one show narcissistic behaviors in only one aspect of their life? For instance, only in the romantic relationship, but behave differently otherwise?
Right. A while ago we said some people can wear a mask. If not all of us, sometimes, unless we have learned that this doesn't really benefit us, we all have the mask. We're not the same person that we are out there in public as at home. At home we take off the mask. But you can manifest, yes, one trait or the other. You could be somebody who wants to be at the forefront at meetings, but yet you can be empathetic to somebody who is at a hospital, somebody who's sick. Yes, you can. But
yes, some
to qualify for...
They may not exhibit all the traits.
Right.
But 1, 2, 3, and...
So we can say he or she is exhibiting a narcissistic trait.
Remember we said there are different levels.
Yes.
We said earlier on there are different levels of narcissism. And they are key traits. So
But
if there's one or two, then that person still needs help. That person still needs to see a therapist, because, as you said, they may be masking the others. You may not even know that they have the others.
With response to that question, Claire, let's look at the traits. Do they become defensive, angry, or dismissive when they receive constructive feedback? So if you are embarking on a relationship and you're courting that person, you're going out to dinner with that person, ask yourself that question. Is that person always defensive, angry, dismissive when they receive constructive feedback? Do they often talk about their achievements and talents in a way that seems exaggerated or out of touch with reality? Red flags start to climb. Are you going to ignore that? You want to take a relationship to another level. You're going out with the individual, and this is manifesting itself on a constant basis. Do they seek out praise and validation frequently and become upset if they don't receive it? That's a red flag. So that's 3 traits already. Do they use manipulation, deceit, or coercion to get what they want, often at the expense of others? That is a passive-aggressive person. So you can see for yourself, yes, individuals can manifest 1 or 2 traits here without qualifying to be a hardcore.
But remember we said
Narcissist.
recognizing a narcissist can be challenging.
There we go.
It is challenging, as the behavior can be subtle or hidden behind charm and confidence.
If that person falls under the heading of the passive aggressive communication mode, you're in a lot of trouble, because they are people who are charming, passive aggressive in a covert way, a hidden way. They undermine the rights of others. Bakuveti. So these are good questions, very good questions, that can impact the way we view our relationship, our relationships.
We just lost the call. Okay. Hopefully they'll call back.
Yes, thank you. I think people are really looking forward to the answers. This is a subject matter that heavily influences our
There we go.
relationship. Hello, good afternoon.
Dr. Phil, I crack up. I'm laughing because what you're explaining something I experienced with somebody, and I married the guy quickly. I'm not going to lie. I married him the first before I actually met with him. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm laughing because most of the things Dr. Phil is describing, that was that guy. That's why I asked the question earlier, can they show traits differently only in relationships? Because when I knew about narcissistic behaviors from you, because I told you years back I was always with you all learning, and then I saw the signs after I actually met the guy, and then his cousins, his sister, his family never saw that in him. So I'm saying, oh, he's not that kind of person. That's what they're saying to me. But I know different because I learned about the behaviors of those people. And he was a charmer. He was a charmer.
They can actually learn to be assertive. They can learn to be assertive, to charm others, to get others. And after they have gotten in that relationship,
True color comes.
Yes.
true colors of the chameleon comes out.
Yes. And you said something about they know how to convert you to get stuff from you. He would come with, in an indirect way, asking for some indirectly, but then, it was just so sweet, and indirectly he would say it, and he would, I'm just laughing
in the
because,
slips.
Yes.
because I know, and that's why I called earlier and asked about a pathological liar, and that, oh my God, I don't even want to go there on the lies. Thank you.
Oh, yes. And on the other hand, they would
Thanks for calling.
sometimes they would do things to hurt you, but when they are through with you,
You feeling hurt?
you feeling hurt. For example, let us say that you have a joint account for, let's say, the kids' education. You're the two signatories, and one day you observe $15,000 disappeared. So obviously you go to your passive-aggressive or narcissistic friend or husband, spouse. What happened to the $15,000? They will start with you. So you don't trust me after all that I did for you. Yesterday I bought you this and that and that. Now you come in and accuse me. And when they finish with you, you will blame yourself for the loss of the $15,000. Trust me. Now, if you know what to do, you know it has to be the individual. When you confront them with the fact, not what did you do, you took $15,000 from the account. I want to know what you did with it. Now, when they start going all over the place, when they land in England, you there, like Bear Rabbit. I want to know what you did with the $15,000, like a broken record. You don't follow them in all their yesterday, I did that for you. As soon as they land, you back again. The point here, we will come to what I did for you yesterday, or you did for me, but the point now is what you did with the $15,000. That's the way to deal with them. It won't be easy, but to keep your sanity, or else you'll be crying all over the place.
But for them, it's important to note that change can be a slow and difficult process.
Yes,
It's
but
a
they have
slow-
to hit the bottom of the bucket.
Especially when they're ingrained with these narcissistic traits for how many years. So for you who want to stay with the person, patience, persistence, and professional support are key components in helping someone make positive changes. And they can change. There is help.
Sometimes the entire family crumbling. The economic situation at home in a mess, crumbling. They will not change.
Yes. And that's so sad. So, folks, as we conclude, remember narcissism can manifest in different ways: 1 way, 2 ways, 3 ways, 8 ways.
But this morning, let me appeal to you, folks, listening, watching. We want you to stop thinking, well, we spoke about President Trump and others, but we want you and I to look at ourselves. That's the only person you can change.
The
you
man
can
in the
decide to
mirror.
change. The man in the mirror. And focus, am I manifesting these traits? Can I get some help? Do I want to change? That's what would bless my heart this morning. That's what would have me to say, it was worth it for Claire and I to come and share with you. But if you're thinking of your neighbor and this one and that one and that one, and not focusing on yourself for a little moment, that would break my heart. It's time for us to wrap up for
Yes,
today.
and just to say, the lady who spoke about the one department where it comes to relationships. Remember, if you don't work with the persons who, let's say he goes to work, they will experience the narcissistic traits from him at the workplace. But you at home, you'll have a relationship. So that's the
Yes.
only time you will see it.
Right.
Is because you'll have a relationship. So when it comes to work, and his friends will see it. So that's social reaction. So we have these 3 areas. We have relationships, we have work, we have interactions with others, and that social interactions, that's the different areas that the traits will be shown, and it will come out eventually. And it's important to recognize that while some narcissistic traits can be healthy, we said that, in moderation, extreme narcissism, particularly narcissistic personality disorder, requires professional intervention and therapy to manage and improve behavior.
That's because you should appreciate yourself enough to take good care of yourself, to look in the mirror to see that everything's all right before you go out, and to pamper yourself. That's okay. You must take care and good care of you. All right?
So if you suspect someone has NPD, encouraging them to seek professional help is crucial for their well-being and the health of their relationships. However, it is important to approach the situation with care and empathy. So, this is it for today, folks. Thank you for listening. Until next week, God willing, same time, same place. This is
Dr. Phil?
Aunt Claire saying goodbye for now.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, REV-UP St. Lucia's sincere thanks for you too for being here. We look forward to seeing you next Thursday right here from 11:30. And our listeners, thank you again for calling in, and of course your messages as well. And please, we look forward to seeing you. And of course, our persons who chimed in on Facebook, thank you so much. We'll be back again next Thursday with another healing process from Dr. Phil and wife Clarissa.
Don't forget to listen to the healing, the unprecedented Jesus. If you listen, and you can tell me what stood out for you, or you got somebody else to listen. Without your contribution, your name can go into the box twice. That's an incentive.
And that's this Sunday.
That's
Yeah.
this Sunday. We have a very interesting program, Lady J. And Sister Jean, if you're listening, I hope that you make every effort to listen. All right?
I listened 2 weeks ago when it was Job. I did listen, my mom and I.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
I did listen that time.
And-
Sometimes I forget to put the radio on because I'm kind of making breakfast for her or something. So I'm
Okay.
hoping to remember this week.
But give me her
Yes.
name, because what I
Okay.
add to the program is saying hello to those
Oh, nice.
those that at home, aged,
Yeah.
like your mom, my mom, and others. So give me her name so
Marie.
that I can give her a little shout out.
Yeah, Marie.
Yes. Take it
Yeah.
from me, Claire.
So that's nice. Appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes? Okay.
I wish I'd asked you because
Have you noticed behavioral changes in self and loved ones that trouble you? You're losing your mind, but it just wouldn't go away. Well, join Dr. Phil, clinical counselor, and his beloved Clarissa, counseling psychologist, on the Healing